Welcome to this edition of Believers Talk with Joe and Steve. We are your hosts. I'm Joe.
I'm Steve.
And in this episode, we want to talk to you about the newly released preseason schedule. So finally, we get some scheduling. It's not as exciting as the regular season, but we'll get there. Before we do that, however, I want to remind everyone that if you're into Bills content, no matter what it is, big or small, we're covering it right here on Believers Talk. So be sure to subscribe, like, or dislike this video and the rest, and comment, and we'll happily get back to you. But Steve, if you want to talk about the schedule a little bit, we can start there.
Yeah, the Bills start out at home against the Panthers, and that game's going to be between August 9th and 12th. These dates have been yet to be determined. So we get to see McDermott against his old mentor coach, Rivera. And obviously the ties between the Panthers and the Bills. You have Tulele playing against his former team, which, I mean, it is what it is. It's preseason.
You're not going to see it much, right? Exactly. But it's good to see the ties. And as we were talking about a little bit too, a lot of times with these preseason games now, teams meet up somewhere and do a lot of like camp type stuff together. So that way these games don't mean as much because they're working out together, and maybe this is one of those connections that they have.
And it gives them more competition going into training camp.
Right. And
they can work together instead of you're going against each other for a few weeks. It gives you some fresh blood there, and you get a little more intense, and you're trying to prove yourself to a different team instead of your own team.
Right. So week 2 we are going away, but we're not going too far. It's in Cleveland, so we'll be playing the Browns week 2 between August 16th and 19th. Like you said, this is between a Thursday and Sunday because we're not sure what date that is. But whatever date we play week 1, that's normally the day we play week 2. Is that right?
Roughly around that time.
So if we play Thursday, we're not going to go from Thursday to Sunday or vice versa. Normally we play. But that might affect the next game. I don't know if I want to talk about that game a little bit.
Yeah, the next game, well, with the Browns game, we obviously get to see Tyrod.
Right, yeah.
And EJ Gaines playing against the Bills instead of for the Bills, which that's fine with me. But the big game is the week 3. That's a primetime game. So we get a primetime game this year on the preseason. That's August 26th at 4 p.m. on Fox. We're going to be playing the Cincinnati Bengals in Buffalo.
So that'll be very interesting, to say the least. With all the ties with the Bengals over the past couple months with the trade, and with them helping us get into the playoffs. I mean, that was exciting.
And then we get McCarron, Preston Brown going there.
Right.
Like you said, with the trade with Cordy Glenn.
Yeah. So a lot of new places, but same faces.
And I have a feeling that at that game, it's not going to be a very hostile environment for the Bengals. I think there's going to be a lot of cheering for Andy Dalton and Boyd, Tyler Boyd. So
every catch he makes, we were clapping.
So it's kind of cool that the NFL did this.
Right.
It'd be a nice atmosphere.
Absolutely.
So I think something to kind of watch. I think that'll probably be the main focus of everybody in the preseason as far as Bills fans.
The one I mean, this is at the same time you look at the third week of the preseason. That's our dress rehearsal type game, and we'll talk a little bit about all the Bills moving pieces and how the team's gonna look so different. Maybe we will play them a little extra, but I think overall this preseason game's gonna be a little bit more fun and just relaxed, right? And then we go on to week 4, which is our second away game for the preseason. That's against the Bears, and that's on August 30th. And as you said, that date is already set just because every team plays on the same day.
To give everybody the
same week off or whatever it is. So you got the Panthers week 1, Browns week 2, Bengals week 3, Bears week 4. So let's talk about preseason a little bit.
Just quick about the Bears. So being here, we're from Lancaster, PA. The Bears' new head coach, Matt Nagy, is actually right down the road here, probably about 15 minutes. He went to Manheim Central High School, set some records there, and then went to Delaware. Obviously went to Philly, and then Kansas City, and now he's the Bears coach. So that's going to be something intriguing
cool for us.
Absolutely. To watch him coach. It's a little different. So not that I'm rooting for him in any way, shape, or form, but it's just something. Lancaster tie going against the Bills. So
absolutely, and it is the 4th preseason game, so we probably won't see the starters, if at all, just for a little bit, if anything.
At least the Bills will be on some TV down here. The news leading up to it, because they'll be talking about Matt Nagy coaching in the preseason game. So
that'd be kind of But so we might get to see the Bills 3 times on TV around here. That'd be kind of neat. If you have NFL Network, they do play all of these games
Yep.
They each get one live game, as you told me off air. But yeah, so if you're not from the Buffalo area, still a Bills fan, you get the Bengals game.
Yeah, that'll be on Fox.
Primetime game, so that's gonna be on Fox. Yep. So as long as you're Fox, you get that one. And then you'll get one more of these 3 games because that's going to be on the NFL Network, right?
It'll be live on the NFL Network. So one of these 3 games will be broadcast live,
right.
Whatever time it is. And then also NFL Network replays every game.
Right.
So you just have to keep an eye out. What I usually do is scroll through when they're playing through the games and DVR the Bills because a lot of times it's like 3 in the morning. So I'll just DVR and watch it the next day.
That's right.
But yeah, you get to see them, and we do have 2 national televised game, and one's going to be the primetime game. So
yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. But while we're sitting here talking about the preseason schedule, Steve, I just kind of wanted to get your take on preseason in general. What do you take out of preseason? What do you look for?
Kind of week 1. I see who was standing out in camp and seeing if that translated into a game, a real live game. Week 2 to 3, that's where you're seeing your starters. So that's always intriguing, and it kind of get a feel of how the year is going to go.
Yeah.
Whether you think it's going to go pretty decent or however it goes. And then week 4 now, because they bumped back to cut day.
Okay.
Instead of doing the 90 to 75 and then 75 to 53, they're just going from 90 to 53.
Right.
So you're going to see a lot of those guys playing a lot more. And they're going to be fighting for a job. So week 4 will kind of be interesting because you're going to have more guys now.
Right.
Fighting for those jobs because you used to have, when you had 75 guys, you had like the last 20 guys or something that might not make the roster. They were playing every snap, whether it was offense and special teams or defense and special teams, so they were wearing those guys out. So the games got a little sloppy, so this might help them and protect some of the bigger players from injury.
So yeah, with that kind of roster size, there's no reason to even see A.J. McCarron or McCoy or anyone in our secondary on the field for that game at all. But it will be interesting because as we've talked about playing times, and if you're a Bills fan, we are going to have a lot of different pieces this year, right? Especially with the incognito news, which we did a video on incognito. We will post it with this video as well, so we have a link here. But yeah, with the incognito news, our offensive line is going to look a lot different. So I don't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, the offensive line, they might be shuffling some pieces there, trying some players out in some new positions.
Right.
So that's something to watch. Same thing with defensive line. We signed some guys.
Yeah.
Linebacker with Preston Brown moving on. See how they communicate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially the middle linebacker because they're calling the plays to make sure that plays are getting called. Those are major factors that, as a fan or somebody that just watches casually, you don't get the feel for that stuff or to see that, and that matters because if you're not communicating right in preseason, that's going to translate into the regular season, and that's something that has to happen.
Yeah, you have to be able to communicate well on the field. Make in-game adjustments. Everyone talks about the coach's ability to make in-game adjustments, but it falls on the players too. The players are the information for the coach to kind of say, hey, here's what I'm seeing, and for the other players as well. Especially like you said, that middle linebacker position, very key.
With the ball, a new coach, offensive coordinator. What kind of offense are we going to run? The other thing too is how can he place or key players? How does he use McCoy? How does he use Benjamin, Zay Jones, Keenan Clay, who we just signed, Charles Clay? So how do we use a lot of these guys, and are they going to dial up certain plays for them? And you'll be able to tell that in the preseason if you're seeing certain plays designated for somebody or somebody's having a good game. Obviously, they're calling plays for that player. So that's something to watch too.
Yeah. Now with preseason, I'm not too particular about the result. 0-4-4-0. I don't care. If you look back at the Bills preseason in 2017, if you look at the results, they weren't pretty all the time, right? But we made the playoffs. So the result of a preseason game doesn't necessarily translate to the success of a regular season. But I do agree with you. Watching how the players interact a lot of times tells you more. But I also kind of believe that even with the ball, there's going to be like a set number of plays they run. Like they're not going to open up the playbook in the preseason. You know what I mean? So So yeah, that'll be kind of interesting to see. But I don't know, maybe he will because this is his first year. I don't know where.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to have their staple of plays that they're going to run and stuff like that, whether it's offense and defense. But to me, it's always intriguing because if the offense is really bad in the preseason, then you have to worry. And even last year, that translated into the regular season. So if we're not putting points up, there's a likely factor that that's going to happen in the regular season. If we're giving up a lot of points on defense. Likely that's going to happen in the regular season, you know, and vice versa. If we're shutting everybody down, you can say, okay, our defense is for real. Last year wasn't a joke. So those are things just that I'm going to keep an eye out. And I always watch. Now, they might lose a game, and I'm not really going to be upset, but how did the offense, defense, and special teams play, and the players? You know, if you have a receiver dropping the ball 10 times a game, likely not going to be on the roster. And, you know, if he's dropping it that much, he's going to do that in a regular season too.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't teach someone how to catch. Like you either can catch or you can't catch, right? So we'll see what that happens. My biggest concern: please don't get injured. Like please just don't get hurt for these 4 games. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the preseason schedule. Didn't know if you had anything you wanted to add. That's it. So again, if you are new to the channel or you've been here a couple of times, we will constantly have all the Bills updates, everything from free agency, draft. Regular season is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time. So any information?
Let's get to that schedule.
Yeah, right. Let's get to that schedule. That'd be fun. But yeah, we're here for all of it. So if you want to subscribe, continue to get some Bills content. But until next time,
go Bills.
Go Bills.